Hey guys, welcome back here. In last lecture I showed you the difference between const, var and let, and I started to talk about callbacks. So let's continue. Go to your calling editors and here to carservice.js, and we are calling here for each function and we are providing inside the value of a anonymous callback function. So anonymous function is a function without a name, and we are writing here a car and then calling this display car informations. And this might be not very clean to you what's happening here. So let's explain it on a simpler example. Go to index.js. And here I will create a simple function. So just function, and let's call it display name, just like this. And we want to provide in argument callback function. So right here, callback function. When this function, display name, is executed, I want to execute also callback function. So callback function like this. And now let's call display name. So display name, call it by this normal bracket and provide inside callback function. So function like this, and just console log out some name. Console log and console log Philip. Alright, so this inside of here of display name is a callback function because it's called later, and it's anonymous because it doesn't have a name and it cannot be reusable. Alright, and let's write here debugger so you will see what's happening. Let's execute it. And now we are creating our display name function, but we are not calling it yet. So here is a call of our function, get inside. I'm getting to a display name, and I provided to display name this function here. We are getting here. And just now I am calling this callback function. That's why it's called callback. And let's go inside, and you can see we are getting inside of a console log, and I am logging out this name. Just like this, and here is a Philip. So this is an anonymous callback function. Let's create just a callback function. So I will write here function, and let's call it display Philip, just like this. And just I want to console log out Philip. So console log out just a Philip name. And now I can copy this display Philip and I can provide it inside of a display name. So I will cut this from here and display name, but don't call it. Don't forget, we are just providing a reference of this function and you will call it when the time is right. Okay, so I will write here debugger again, or breakpoint, doesn't matter. Let's execute it. And now I'm creating display Philip function, as you can see. Let's forward, and I'm getting to display name. And let's go to display name, and I'm again calling here callback function. This display Philip I sent inside of this function, and console log, and it's the same. So now it's just a callback function. It's not anonymous anymore because I can now display Philip and I can call it independently like this, more times, more names, like this, and like execute it, and there's a lot of Philips in a console log. So that's basically it. That's a callback function. And with your callback function, you are delaying execution of your code and giving this responsibility to other code. And that's very important when you are making a request to a server or when you're working with the asynchronous code. So the code that it's not executed immediately, but after some time. Okay, so let's remove all of this. We don't need it here. Card service can stay, but this function can go away. And let's go back to our carservice.js. And here let's take a look one more time on display all cars. So what is happening here? We are just calling some for each function, and suddenly we are iterating cars to repair, and we are displaying this car information. So this might be a little bit unclear for you, and I will try to make it more simpler. So let's scroll up here, and let's create a new function. So function, and let's call it for each. And this will be very similar function to this one, little bit different, but meaning is exactly the same. Okay, like this, and we will get our array here, like this, and we'll provide here also callback function. So callback function. And I want to loop this array, so let's write here for loop, for, and inside let I equal 0. I is a less than array length, and I plus plus. So what's happening here? I'm just looping here. So I'm assigning to I 0, and each iteration I'm increasing I plus 1. And I'm looping here until I is a less than array length. Alright? So now we can write here our callback function, and we can call it. But we want to call this function with our car, so with the element of this array. So let's get this element. Right here, const array element, and this equals our array on current index. So I here. So current iteration. Alright, and let's save it. Let's scroll down here. And we can comment or remove this function. I will just comment it. Make some space here, and let's comment all of this. And now we can call our function. So let's write for each, like this. And this is our function, and we need to provide array and a callback function here. So array is our these cars to repair. Alright, and a callback function is our anonymous function here. So right here, function with a car, and you want to display car information. So I will copy this line from here. Alright, so save everything now, and I will place here debugger. Just like this. I will go to index.js, and let's run code. Alright, we are getting inside display all cars, and now we are calling for each function. So let's get inside of here, and here we have a for loop. So let's go inside of for loop, and I'm assigning to array element this array on index 0. We have here our car, you can see this car element, default brand, default model, and 2000 year. But I'm not calling my function with this array element. I'm sorry. Let's stop this, and let's provide array element here, just like inside of this function, like this. All right, and let's do it one more time. So I will call, and I will run our code. We are getting inside again. Let's go to for each. Here we are looping array, and we are getting array on index 0. So these are default car, default brand, default model, and I'm calling callback function here with this element. So I'm calling this function I specified here. So when I will get inside, I'm getting into our code down here, and I'm calling here our car and display car informations. So let's go inside, display car informations, and you can see we are displaying this here. But we are not done yet because we have 2 cars inside of an array. So one more time, we are in a loop. We are assigning to array element array on an index 1. So our second car here, this Ford Fiesta, and we are calling this function with this element Ford Fiesta. Let's go inside. Here we are in our callback function, and we are displaying car information as before. So we are displaying Ford Fiesta. Alright guys, so that should be it for this lecture. And remember, with callback functions, you are delaying execution of your code and giving this responsibility to other code. So I gave this responsibility to my for each code. And it's the same as this for each here. I'm just calling it from a different library or from function that somebody else created. And I'm just providing here my callback function, and I'm counting on this for each that this function will call my callback functions. And I can do my stuff inside of here. So guys, that should be it for this lecture, and in next lecture I will explain to you arrow functions. So guys, see you there.